Good evening. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Spectrum. My name is Dana Roxanne. I am your hostess tonight and every night. Let me see how I look with my hair. This is a new outfit. I have never worn it. Oh my gosh. How's everybody doing? Are we going to survive the winter? Did everybody survive the storm? I hope you have electricity. I hope you have warmth. I hope you have water. I hope you have everything that you need. This has been an incredible week. We took off last week, which was our Valentine's show, but we're doing it this week. So you're going to see some things, maybe like, well, that was last week, but we're just going to get things started. We have a good show, a great show. Some of our folks can't be with us this week, so we're going to make it work with whatever we can and whoever we can to make it work. So tonight we're going to be discussing, of course, the Texas storm. How could we not discuss that? Because that was an ordeal. I mean, there are people that still don't have running water right now. There's people that barely have electricity. It was crazy. So we definitely have to discuss that storm without discussing our fantastic Senator Ted Cruz, who did such a wonderful job and helped us out and raised millions of. Oh, that wasn't Ted Cruz. Oh, that was AOC that did that. Okay, I forget. Well, nonetheless, we have to discuss Mr. Ted Cruz, our senator, as well. Now, one of the topics we were going to discuss last week was the Free Britney Spears documentary. That's really, really, really a big deal right now. And so we were going to discuss it last week. So, and everybody did their homework. They watched the documentary. So I'm like, well, we didn't watch that documentary for nothing. So we're watching it. So we're going to discuss it. So we're definitely going to be discussing that. Now, as I told you guys, last week was going to be our Valentine's segment show. And what I had scheduled was a special, there was a wedding officiant as a friend of mine, a dear lifelong friend of mine. And he's a wedding officiant and he has this fabulous wedding business. And so I thought it was going to be fantastic to bring him onto the show and discuss, love and all things about love and marriage and people that get married and maybe some funny stories or interesting situations or just all things about love and weddings and stuff. Maybe I was going to get married one day, maybe I wanted to discuss it. I don't know. But nonetheless, that was the plan for Valentine's. So needless to say, the winter apocalypse, as it has become affectionately known as, the winter apocalypse happened, and so that was the end of that. So, but he's here this week, so we're going to still talk about love and all things marriage and all those wonderful things. I hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's despite the weather and everything that happened. If you take away, the having to, survive and not freeze to death. It actually was very beautiful to look at, the snow and the ice and everything. It was just really beautiful to me. So I saw the beauty in the ugly. So anyway, we're going to be discussing that. So without any further ado, last night was an amazing time. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. That was a different show. That's not this show. But no, there was a great energy in the room at Barcode last night. You're right. It was a great weekend. I think everybody was just happy to be out and to see familiar faces and to be alive. I don't know, but it was definitely a vibe and it was definitely a great feeling there last night. All right. So with that being said, some of the people have arrived. This might be an all-girl show. We don't know. Girl power. We're going to make it happen tonight. So let's just bring in our cast right now and see how they survived. Hi, Julie.
Hello. Hi.
Honey.
I'm good. I have survived.
I was going to say, how did you survive? What was going on?
Pretty much the same as everyone. And we did have the broken pipe issue, and I think that I felt myself very, very lucky because my family, we all live within a very close proximity to each other. And so how they kind of like, some people had power and some people didn't. So we just kind of hopped from home to home to feel, to have warmth. We never had water. but it was, I consider myself extremely lucky in the scheme of things.
Yeah, it was an ordeal. It was different. It was different, but then as people kept pointing out, it wasn't, if you grew up a certain way, it wasn't that different. Because I remember up until a certain age, growing up in the country, there was outhouses and things like that, and you didn't have the indoor plumbing necessarily. I mean, I think we had a well. We had eventually it was an electric well where the water would be pumped to the house, but we had a well.
That's right. Yes.
Growing up. So it's like, I was sitting here forgetting that I grew up in the country. Like, oh my Lord, I have never yeah, you have.
Yes. Yeah.
You've done all that.
Yeah.
And everybody's had their lights cut off at least one time. Calm down. So once I put it in perspective that way, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I also thought that my camping experience, I felt my inner Girl Scout was very useful.
I can imagine that being the case. Mm-hmm. We're not going to argue with Callie. I'm going to get her up here right now. All right, so let's go ahead and see what Wendy was doing. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
Hey, y'all. How you doing? I'm making it.
Look at you.
Those Ted Cruz goggles you were talking about.
Oh yeah, it's either my stormy glasses.
Your stormy glasses. Okay.
Since we're talking about, oh, I can see y'all in the reflection. That's trippy. Look. Anyway, yeah. So they're my stormy glasses. Since we're going to be talking about the winter storm, I thought I'd wear them. They'd be appropriate.
I love your hair tonight.
Thank you. I woke up like this.
Well, look at what I need to speak. What kind of pillow do you
have? Sleep Number.
All right, you guys. So I think it's just going to be us girls today. Chris, I didn't even see his message, but I just saw it when I was logging on and everything, that he wasn't feeling well. Has anybody talked to him? Is he feeling okay?
It's from his second vaccine. He's having some effects from his second dose from the vaccine.
Oh, dear. Julie, have you had your second dose yet?
Not the second, just the first. And the first, I did have I had an odd set of symptoms. They still are like, I haven't heard of that, but at one point I had an almost 105 temperature, and it was, and I felt like things were like burning, like boiling. I felt myself boiling, but I talked to nurses and doctors, and they said, write it out, you'll be fine. And they were right. It was almost exactly 12 hours, and then I felt fine.
Well, I definitely want to. Once you have, maybe I think I'm going to get the vaccine. Wendy, are you going to do the vaccine
as soon as possible? Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So maybe we'll do a whole segment where we all discuss it after we've been vaccinated and how we feel and things.
Yes, okay, so
go ahead.
Sorry, I said I have lots of people close to me that are either immunocompromised, or like my wife has one lung, so her getting COVID could be very bad.
Oh wow.
So as soon as I can get vaccinated, I will be.
Cool. Now I did. I had put a post on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that in the event that people couldn't be here, if anybody wanted to be a guest panelist, and I see somebody has chimed in, so we're going to welcome him to the guest spot. So let's bring our first guest for Spectrum. This is Zach Butler. He's in Wisconsin.
Wow.
Oh
Hi, Zach. Welcome to Spectrum.
Hi, everyone. First time I'm on the show, and I am not that camera ready, but...
Oh, you look great. You look great. You look fabulous. All right, you guys. So and I will say hello to everybody, and we welcome you to make comments. I almost forgot. Let me see. Charles Jackson. He's our guest coming up later. He said Campfire Girl. I guess that was at Julie. And let's see. Shay said, hey. Charles said, hi, Zach. And I don't know. My computer's doing some weird thing because it's not showing me whose names these people are. But hello, everybody. I can see. If I can see you, I'll put you up there. See, I don't know what that. Who is Jedi? What? Jedi Speak?
2K.
Okay. Okay. Hello, Jedi Speak. Okay. Let me see who else is here. So we welcome y'all to comment. Hi, Victor. He works at Barcode with me. Hi, Victor. Thank you, Shay. I'm assuming you're talking to me. I might be Wendy's hair. I don't know because she looks amazing. Of course, Julie's rocking her blonde bob as usual.
Always.
All right, you guys. So let's get into our topics. Why don't you? Are y'all ready for some topics?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm trying to work this today. I haven't had internet in over a week. And I know it's weird, I suddenly forgot. All right, you guys. So if you hadn't heard, Texas was below. A lot of times, I don't know how y'all's houses felt, but inside my home, it felt like it was below 30 degrees all week, especially when there was no electricity. And so Texas was under a freeze. It snowed. At first, we were all like, "Oh, look at the pretty snow," and then it's like, "Uh-oh," that turned to "uh-oh" real fast. So let's have a chitty chat about that. Oh, we lost Zach. Oh, there he goes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there he is. Oh,
StreamYard hates my ass. I don't know why.
you have issues. You have issues on After Dark as well. Okay, so now let's talk about it in a way of who do y'all think was to blame for it? Julie, who do you think was to blame for Texas not being as prepared, or do you think we're as prepared as we could have been?
I think that it had to do with the fact that Texas decides that they're the officials of our state decide that they're separate, and so the regulation of the electricity and powers that be, we are separate, and so we're not afforded the luxuries of being prepared when something like this happens, and that is appalling. Yes. And I think that is the crux of what we are dealing with. It doesn't fall on one party or the other, even though I think that for the majority, we know which party has the majority of making those decisions. But I do think that it has to do with money in the pockets of the wrong people.
What do you think, Wendy?
I agree with Juliet. I think that ERCOT has a lot to explain for. Our lawmakers have a lot to explain for. We've known about a lot of these issues that we've had since 2011, and yet nothing's been done. We can talk about the winter storm, but they still had 10 days to do something. They could have used de-icers. They could have used all kinds of equipment that people just did not do anything. They didn't do anything to try to prepare the rest of us for what was about to happen. I had it pretty good. I was without power for about half the time and without water for about half the time. Okay. But I was pretty lucky that I only had a little pipe burst in my hot tub. First world problems, you know.
Oh.
But it's absolutely astonishing to me that people would rather freeze to death than be federally regulated. If we had been federally covered, as Julie was saying, we're completely separate from the federal government as far as our power system goes, and for being the energy capital of the world to not be able to meet demands from our own people in our own state is pretty embarrassing.
Now we'll have to say we're the energy capital with air quotes. We're the energy capital.
We're the energy capital above 32 degrees.
Now here's my question. And I'm going to ask you something very specific in a minute, Zach. Had either of you ladies heard of ERCOT before this happened? I hadn't heard of them.
I had.
So you knew about? Okay, I had never heard of them. I don't even think I knew that Texas was on its own power grid.
Yes, so it stands for the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, which, if you think about it now, is laughable because the reliability part definitely didn't come into play. I think our governor asked that the entire council resign, but the thing is that he's the one that put them in those positions, so he's as culpable as they are.
Right. Now, Zach, the question I wanted to ask you, now you live in Wisconsin and y'all are about to get another snowstorm. This happens all the time though, doesn't it? How was it different when you saw Texas? Were y'all laughing at us? What did y'all really think?
Well, hopefully StreamYard won't cut me out, so I'll try to be quick. I think that, I was born and raised in Illinois, so this is normal for me, the cold weathers and the intense snowstorms. But And I was speaking to a friend about this yesterday, that when my mother and I moved to Wisconsin, it was a big culture shock from being from Illinois, because of one main thing, the snow situation. I'm just gonna be blunt, honest, and call them out on it. I'm sorry, Wisconsin, but your plowing is shit. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it, because when my mother and I first moved up here, we were at Walgreens and we were picking up prescriptions. And I kid you not, in the drive-through, we were seeing that a guy in a big pickup truck just taking shovels of snow and throwing it out into the street. I'm like, I looked at my mother and she looked at me and we're like, this can't be reality. This can't be real. Like, and the sidewalks, I have to climb over mountains of snow to get from one part of the sidewalk.
Oh no!
Ah, where'd he go?
I was engrossed in the story. Like, what happened then? He always has issues with StreamYard. I don't know why. He used to come on the After Dark show with Coffee and I, and it always is like something. It was always attacking him. Oh wait, there he is. Let's see. Make it quick. Finish the story.
I'm serious. Streamwood has it out for me, but the that's the situation with me here in the Midwest. But other than that, it's pretty normal. But still, it's a bit aggravating as well. But the other thing, when I first moved to Wisconsin, was I experienced power outages, but it wasn't as bad as it was in Texas. But still, it was like I had to, when I still had my mother's car and my mother was still around, when the power would run out, I would have to take the phone and charge it in my mother's car for 5 minutes, or else
So
the
how
battery.
did you guys look at? So being that you're used to that, when you saw how Texas was reacting, did y'all like think we were nuts, or what did y'all think?
Well, to be honest, I was worried for everyone in Texas, because being in a power outage in a situation like that, and of course communicating with you, Roxanne, and hearing that there was no running water, the power was all out, there was no heat. I was like, oh, and this was going on for like nearly a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God, I never experienced a power outage that bad, thank God. But it's like, I was just mainly concerned for everyone. I didn't think that everyone was being, I guess I don't have that thing about people are overreacting about the weather.
Okay. Well,
except
that's
in my area, most likely. but I was just mainly concerned for everyone's safety. And I didn't want to communicate with anyone that I know there, because I'm like, how's their phone battery health going?
Right. So here's my question. My question for Julie and Wendy: do you think this is going to change how people vote come in the winter in 2022 and 2024? Which will segue us right to Mr. Ted Cruz. This is him arriving at the airport, or going as he's, I think he was arriving home, and he had his Texas mask on. And so he was arriving back from Cancun as we were all shivering and we're using flashlights and things like that. So how do y'all think that, Julie and Wendy especially, how do you think people, is this going to change votes? Is this going to change minds? This is our segue to Ted Cruz.
I'd like to believe that it's going to, but it sure is a long way away before we're going to be in that voting booth, and people have short memories.
Especially in Texas.
Especially in Texas.
Callie, stop with your tail. She's a mess today. So, Julie, do you think it's going to change votes?
Not. I would hope so. I would hope people, but when I see 2025, I'm like, these people they will soon forget when we're okay. Like, so we are all surviving this, and then we will move on. And the people, if they are aware, I hope they will vote. But I also was I knew the people who I didn't want to vote for before this happened. So it for me, and I hope so, but I think that I mirror that it's so far away. to
Yeah.
change.
I think the most important thing that we can do is just keep it in the front of people's memories. So every time we have something to do about energy or there's something going on, we need to remember what happened. We need to talk about it. We need to continue to talk about it so that it stays with people's memories. However, I will say that, you know, after reading a lot of my friends, conservative friends posts, they're defending Ted Cruz.
What? What were they saying?
Yes, defending him, saying
You would go
things.
too.
Oh, they're saying things such as you would go too, right? If you could, if you weren't poor, basically, if you could
Oh,
leave, you would. And I'm
oh my
sitting there going,
God.
you know, that may or may not be true, but we're not the public officials who should be staying back trying to help our constituents as opposed to taking off and going on a little vacation. For
Right.
example, AOC has raised almost $3 million or something like that for Texans because of this storm.
That's insane. So do you think it's going to matter? Do we have to have, like, is it about having a viable candidate as well?
I think so. I think it's
Like
going to
Beto
have a lot.
O'Rourke. Do you think people would vote
Um,
for him this time?
well, it's also going to depend on whether or not the Republicans are going to back him again, because they may put up a Republican candidate to go against him in the primaries.
Ooh,
So, you know,
that would
it
be
depends.
interesting.
It depends on how angry everybody stays and gets. But he sure is eating a lot of crow right now.
As well, he should.
As well, he should.
All right. Well, we're going to definitely keep our eye on Mr. Ted Cruz. I wish Charles were here so he could give us what his constituents and the fellow Republicans are thinking of their Republican senator. But I think he's showing a house or something, so he couldn't be here this week. So now we're going to segue to this fantastic documentary. Julie, did you get a chance to see the documentary with Britney Spears?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I know Wendy saw it. And ironically, Zach saw it because he made a video for the show. And we're going to show that now in case people aren't familiar with it.
Sometimes I run, sometimes I hide, sometimes I'm scared of you. All I really want is to hold you tight, be with you day and night. Sometimes I run, sometimes I'm scared of you. But all I really want is to hold you tight. I'll treat you right, I'll be with you.
Oh, oops. I knew I was going to hit this one button twice. So that was a great encapsulation of her career. Zach, you did a wonderful job producing that video. I wish I knew how to do stuff like that. I don't. So, and this documentary touches on so many things outside of just the conservatorship. It's about, for me, my takeaway was about how women are vilified and how they're treated differently from men. And it was just so much more. But I want to get y'all's take on it. What did you think, Julie?
So I did, yes, I did think that, but what I took away was that when someone who is in the public eye, who is talented, who has such a large following, and at some point in their lives, things happen, mental things happen, whatever it is. And I understand the conservatorship. I understand why those exist. But what bothered me is the fact that she no longer needed it and it still existed. And how she was having to, it seemed like why did she have to fight for that? And then when you heard that conservatorships, they're hardly ever overturned, there has to be something that has to change, because she's a grown-ass adult and
Right.
she's you know, she has all this money. I was happy that once that had aired, you could see that then almost like the following Thursday that the judge had overturned, and so they kind of share that third party and Jamie. They share the responsibility, but still, she's still stuck. And
Right.
I'm flabbergasted that anyone thinks that is okay. That you are, now that she is mentally stable, that still can happen.
And what about you, Wendy?
I am in complete agreement that the fact is that if she were not a woman, this would not have happened. There
Hmm.
are a lot of child stars that have had utter and complete breakdowns and continue to do things that put themselves in danger, and none of them have conservators. And not to mention the fact that these things never seem to end, but also the fact that she's asked not to even have the conservatorship canceled, but just to have her father removed.
Right.
She's asking for literally anyone else to come in and do this. And now, why would she do that? Why would she do that if she wasn't suffering in some way? He has control over her social media. He has control over her money. Well, not anymore. He has control over her appearance, whether she works, where she works, how long she works. You know, all of these things. She has no control over herself, and seeing that is just heartbreaking. It's like federally or locally government granted control
Yes. Well, and I was
and
also
abuse.
I, and I want to get your take, Zach, and then I want to just discuss another aspect of this. What did you think when you watched it? Because you were not familiar with Britney Spears' music, correct?
Right. I grew up in the generation of Britney, but I didn't follow her music like everyone else in my generation. But the common thing that I got out of from the documentary was, I'm like, this is a pattern that I've seen before. And the first thing I thought of was like people like Michael Jackson.
He's not wrong though. The point he was going towards is
Yeah,
wrong. It's
yeah.
spot on. There have been
Now,
so many other eccentric powerhouses that have come through and done some seriously questionable things, and none of them have had their children taken away. None of them have been put into a conservatorship. Oh, he's back. Go ahead.
You hear me?
okay, you said Michael Jackson and go.
Yes, it was I've seen it happen to Michael Jackson, Garland, Whitney Houston, and I'm like, the common thread that I saw was how the industry basically uses and abuses people. And what I got from it was, it made me think of like, it seemed like nobody in Britney's camp really had her best interest, except maybe for the assistant and her mother. But it was like everyone took advantage of her in some way and used her, I want to say maybe her caring nature against her. In that.
And you can see, speaking of that caring nature, like the Diane Sawyer interview. And when she broke down and started crying, but Diane was just really just staring at her like, yeah, girl, what? Then I'm like, okay, where was your heart? Where was your compassion? Why would you even have this girl on here? And Diane Sawyer was just so mean. And so it was like antagonistic almost.
Well, from some experience being on the national stage, people do not tend people. They say things to you that they would never say to their worst enemy over a keyboard.
Right.
And whether they mean it or not doesn't matter. They say it because they don't believe that we're ever going to actually see it.
Right. And so what I was going to get to was what part do you think mental health plays into this? Because I also think that unlike everybody else, I do think I still see a need for a conservatorship, because I do believe there's mental illness, mental health issues, and sometimes those things don't go away. They can be managed, but they don't go away. And let's say that maybe she did get off into drugs, allegedly, and that triggered or revealed her mental health. And I just feel like maybe she needs help. And so that doesn't mean that she will, just because she's okay now doesn't mean she's going to stay okay.
No,
So,
but also we don't treat addicts like that. How many addicts are there in this
well,
country,
I'm
and
not
how many
speaking
of
of
them are actually
addiction.
under conservative church
Well, I'm not
conservatorship?
speaking. I'm saying the drug addiction triggered her mental health episode, and now
Sure.
that she's sober from the drugs and alcohol, that mental health has that trigger has still been released, and so she has
Right.
mental health issues, and
Right.
so
But
I
I
think
don't think that we
just
should
because
be
she's okay
vilifying
today,
people. I don't think that we should be infantilizing people with mental illness either. I have mental
okay.
illness. Do I need a
So do
conservator?
I.
Well, I mean, I think I would say 8 out of 10 people that probably have mental illness issues. And I can only speak from my personal experience. I lived my life and I was completely, I'm a very happy person. And then I did have went down that road of the drugs and the alcohol, and I had severe mental breakdown and issues. And although I am 100% okay today, I still have days where I struggle with my mental health. I still
Sure.
have episodes, crisis moments with my mental health. And
Sure.
so I'm saying, and maybe if I had never done drugs and alcohol, it might not have ever spiraled to the height that it did. But that's what happened, and this is where I am today. And so I'm saying it's not about infantilizing her. It's about just monitoring in case she needs help, having a lifeline there.
Of
Maybe
course,
not maybe
everybody
not a
needs to have that.
conservatorship, but some type of lifeline that is not related to her. I don't
But
Do
think
you
it's
that's
think
my
related
point.
to her.
my
That
question,
shouldn't be a conservatorship.
right? And that was my thing. One of the in the back of my mind, the takeaway was, if she didn't have all that money or fame, would he have asked for that conservatorship? I
No,
don't think so. And
that
so,
part I agree with you. That's true. That's true. I don't think that would have happened at all.
It
Especially
would have
being from
never even been
Louisiana.
granted.
Being from Louisiana, that's probably normal. I don't mean to make light of it, like, oh, that's our crazy Aunt Brittany. That's crazy cousin Brittany, and she would have been normal sitting on the porch with everybody else with her bald head, and they would have thought nothing else of it. Girl, she shaved her head. They wouldn't even. It was a story they tell at Christmas. That's all that would have been. But it is about the money, and I do think the father did a money grab, talking about she's going to buy me a boat. That was a money grab, but whether it would have happened or not, I just think that there needs to be some kind of life preserver there for her in case that she does need help.
I think that everybody does though, and that's why we have
Yeah,
therapists and doctors and all of those things. And that was my whole point, was that not that she shouldn't have a lifeline, that she shouldn't have that help. Everybody needs to have that help.
but
Everybody.
I think she's also to a point where she's aware of that, and that's why she wasn't fighting to get it removed. She just didn't want them to be doing it. So I think
I
on some level she sees that for herself as well, though.
I can't speak on whether or not she thinks she needs it. What I can speak on is the fact that she knows that none of them ever get overturned, and she may just be giving up and just wants out however she can get
That's what
out.
you're saying. That's what you're saying. It's like it's
She's lost every legal battle up until recently after that Times show aired. She's lost
mm,
every legal battle. And hopefully we'll start to see some more of this consideration going into uh what she's actually going through, unless maybe an outside third party should come in and look at everything really closely and audit the situation.
no. Oh no. What did you think? What did y'all think about the Justin Timberlake apology?
Oh,
Too late,
Go ahead.
too little, too late.
bullshit.
Not the fan pop. We got a fan pop on that one now.
Too little, too late.
And I think it was because he's known about this. He's known everything she's been going through. And I think it was once again one of those, it's very Ted Cruz. Oh, the public knows. Let me do a mea culpa real fast. I feel like that's what it was. It wasn't
yes.
sincere.
No.
No,
And
if it
then
was, he would have done it in private to her.
that part, it would have been private. It would have been a long time ago.
Right.
And now, I don't know if y'all made jokes or laughed or looked at her and said, "Oh, did you feel any kind of complicitness to what you saw, the jokes about Britney, the things about Britney, and did you maybe laugh at her as well? I felt
As they
bad.
were happening,
I
as they
felt
were
bad.
happening, or
Yeah,
watching
as it
the.
was, as
Oh
looking back
no!
at it, like, oh, I had no idea.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I remember
I
seeing some
yeah.
Britney things, and I remember thinking, oh, she's a skank and a hot mess. I remember thinking
Uh,
that. And I felt so bad once I knew what was really going on.
No, she and I are almost the same age. And I remember when she came out, and I remember having the thought when she came out and looking at how they were marketing her and
Mm,
how the pressures of having to be the perfect virginal sex object that she was
yes. It
is
was a very
is
Madonna whore.
uh, it's ridiculous that they were marketing a child like that in the first place. Don't get me started on that, but I cannot.
We love you, Zach. We understand.
We do love you, Zach. I just I saw the moment she came out that there was going to be there's too many child actors, performers, entertainers that come out and they end up having this horrible, horrible breakdown. And I could see it before she ever even made it to number one,
Mm,
where
oh,
she
you
was
could.
headed. And
Oh,
nobody could
wow.
say anything. When she shaved her head, everybody's laughing about it. And I'm like, this girl is going through something, and y'all are doing is laughing about it. Why? Because we want to eat the rich?
Yeah.
She's still a kid.
And for me, it wasn't about eating the rich. It was, I just like, if a joke is funny, I'm going to laugh. And so, I mean, I acknowledge that. And it doesn't make it right. And it's not something that I'm necessarily proud of. And I can, at this moment, I can, acknowledge, and not that she'll ever hear it. I can make my apology, not that she'll ever know or care. But I felt bad once I realized that's what had happened. So, are there any other aspects of this story that we didn't look at it from? Is there any other
There's
type of?
several people that thinks that she's just crazy and thinks that she deserves everything that she's got. So
Oh,
I would like to see her wishes at least considered and have her father removed as the conservator and have some third party come in and take care of it.
how old are her sons now?
I don't know.
I think it's going to be a new day once they're of age. I think a
That's
whole lot of
definitely going to be a difficult thing for all of them to go through.
something's going to change, and I think they're going to take care of their mother. They're going to make sure a lot of this changes. I think.
I
I,
would sure
I
like to
really,
see that happen.
I really feel like it. I can just feel it in my spirit. I think that's what's going to happen.
I would like to see that happen because I think that she loves her
Alex,
kids.
and you can always see how much they love her as well. Well, we'll of course keep monitoring that story as well. Well, I feel like we're the Spectrum Angels right now. There's only three of us. But I wanted to give a special right. I did a karate chop. I wanted to give a special shout out to all of you, to my cast, to Julie, to Wendy, to Chris, to Charles, to Crystal, because I love the way that we all stayed in touch with each other, looked after each other, offered resources, and helped out. And we really were like a little family. And I really, really was so proud of you guys for looking after each other, and myself included. I really appreciated seeing the unity there. It was really amazing. And I was just very proud of you guys. So I want to thank y'all for being so amazing.
Well, thank you. You brought us all together.
Yes.
Well, I think I done good, because I ended it half the time I wouldn't even have seen any of the messages, and I have to come back and show me, oh, they've really been talking. It's like, oh, let me put a heart here and a like there.
Yes.
But I love that there's a connection there, even without me being present. The connection is still there, and so I'm so proud of y'all for looking out for each other and looking in on me. I really appreciate it. So thank you, ladies. Thank you both. Is there anything you want to say before we end our review segment today? Any last words with Julie? What are you going to say?
Just in light of the situation, I know that the storm is still affecting a lot of people. It affects, to some degree, things that we will not ever see. And I just hope that that end is very quick, so that those people can get back on their feet in whatever form or fashion that is, because I am still thinking about that, even though I sit here with this ring light on me, and I feel privileged.
Right. Blessed is how I feel. So what are you going to be up to this week, Julie?
This week. Oh, this week is just work because all the kids are virtual this week. So I go into work. So I'll have them all day, each day, which doesn't happen very often, but I'm very grateful for the time when I get to have more hours with them.
Well, that's going to be fabulous. Well, you have a great week, and thank you so very much for being here with us today. And we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Oh, that's bye.
Bye.
I have a very quick finger. Like I'll be on the phone talking to somebody, like as soon as I say, "Well, okay, bye," yeah, I'll hit the button. I don't care what
they'll be in the mood, be like,
I don't care what. I don't care what they've started to say. I have already hit the button. It's just I have a really quick finger. I'm sorry. So, did you have any last words about anything we discussed there? Anything you wanted to say?
Well, I think for me, the running theme that I would like to see from all of the topics of today is some accountability from the people in charge. I want to see some accountability from the people who had the ability to foresee this and do something about it.
Mhm.
Because it's not me. All I am is a voice on a screen. I don't have that power, but I can definitely talk to people about who is in power and how can we change this.
Oh my God, yes, that day. That the change is gonna come.
Change has got to come. So don't forget, stay angry, channel that anger and put it into the voting booth.
Yes, God. I cannot wait till we have till that season kicks off so I can get behind a candidate and really try to make them win and start campaigning for them and all of the things.
Yes.
So what do you have going on this week?
Oh, just some photo shoots. Got a couple of photo shoots. I think I'm going to help a friend move because of the because of the storm.
Awesome.
Obviously, a lot of people have had busted water pipes and are being forced to move from their apartment complexes without warning. They're being forced to move from their homes without warning.
Yeah.
And we have a truck, so we're helping people move because I believe in see a need, fill a need. So if y'all need help,
cool.
reach out. I would love to help out any way that I can.
And that's what you're up to this week?
That's it.
All righty then. Well, thank you so much. I had a wonderful time with you today.
Thank you, Dana.
And we survived.
We did it. It's like the third apocalypse in a year.
I know, and it's only February. We had an insurrection, an ice storm. What? Oh, I shouldn't say that.
No,
Those are numbers.
We're in the middle of a pandemic insurrection ice storm.
Yes, don't say what's next. Well, thank you, my love. You have a great week and give my love to the family.
We'll do that.
All righty. Well, that's going to do our view today. So stick around. We have some our interview with Mr. Charles Jackson, Mr. CJ, we call him, is coming up. But first, we got to pay some bills around here. So we want to give a shout out to our advertisers. First, we want to shout out, they haven't sent their commercial or their information yet, but Bella Miore is a clothing, luxury ladies clothing apparel company. And they're going to be sponsoring well, they've already started, but they're putting their things together. So we want to give them a shout out. Soon we'll have some material for you to see with them. And that's called Bella Miore, Luxury Ladies Apparel. They're going to be giving me some outfits to wear on the show. Woo! And of course, here's a commercial from one of our new advertisers. Let's check out Sweets by Elise. All righty, there you go. And this next commercial is from they are our streaming sponsor, and we're very honored and happy to have them. So we want to show this one. If you're looking for a wedding officiant, check out Love the One You're With. everybody that's love the one you're with, wedding officiant, and all of your wedding needs. And that's going to be the perfect segue into our guest for today. So let's welcome to the show. This is my friend, neighbor, brother, all the things. So very excited and proud of everything that he's done. And I can't wait for you guys to meet him. So let's welcome Mr. Charles Jackson. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm home. How are you?
Oh, weird.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I look all weird. That's better.
Okay, come a little closer to your microphone.
Is that better?
Let me see. Let me say something again.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go. Okay, you sound good.
Sorry.
So how are you today?
I'm good. I have no complaints. My complaints don't have complaints. I'm good.
Well, that's good to hear.
I'm good. I have no complaints. How are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous. Thanks to you, I am fine. You have been such a blessing. I want to tell everybody right now, full disclosure, he's also my neighbor. And I'm telling everybody, like the first day, they're like, how did you survive the first day? I said, well, actually, I was outside most of the day on that first day. And they said, what? I'm like, well, we didn't know we was outside because we were laughing and having such a good time. And I guess laughter warmed our souls because it was nice and warm. But we were like, my neighbor had cooked gumbo on a barbecue grill, and invited all the other neighbors, and we were just having a big old gumbo party outside. I said I was outside from like 12:30 to 4:30. I didn't even think anything, didn't think anything of it. And so you're that neighbor that had made the gumbo and that fed like Jesus and the two pieces of bread and the three fishes. You fed the multitudes.
Well,
He's like, baby, I'm like, how much gumbo was in that pot? Because it didn't look that big. And everybody just kept going over there getting a couple of bowls. I'm like, okay, that Jesus must have raised his hand over that pot or something. Because that pot has got to be empty by now. Anybody that needed some came and got some. It was the best feeling. So how did that, we're going to get to the reason you're here. But I wanted to talk to you, where does that come from?
Well, I mean, you know me personally, and you know my intimate feelings and thought about my life and things like that. But it mainly comes from I've been taught, life has taught me, my mother taught me, and life has taught me more so than anything else that when you're blessed, you have in my opinion, in my heart, in my opinion, you have the duty to bless someone else, whether it's small or large. It can be the size of a Skittle or the size of a boat, or it doesn't matter what it is. As long as you have the ability to bless somebody, and sometimes blessing somebody is not material. You know,
True.
listening, it goes a long way. Sometimes just being an ear for someone, sometimes just being a sounding board for someone, sometimes just letting somebody talk and you just shut the hell up and let them talk. Really does a lot for it goes a long way and just being there. So it's not materialistic. It's just I've learned that I have been very, very blessed, and I would be remiss personally for me not to bless somebody if the opportunity presents itself.
Right. And y'all didn't just do, like, gumbo was just day one, really. And so then day two, we have a million sandwiches from Starbucks. Come on over. So it's like, what?
Yeah, and here's that thing. We were my roommate. We've been friends for over almost 30 years. It just that blessing just fell into his lap. We're like, what? And then we called all the neighbors.
Yeah, and that was day two. And then, of course, you had that your video library. Once we did have power, like, come get some movies. You ain't got no internet. And so it's like every day it was something else that y'all were putting out to the neighbors and out to the neighborhood. And I just wanted to I thanked you on Facebook, but I want to publicly thank you on this forum as well. I just want to thank you. You helped me get through the storm, and I just want to thank you so very much. And I know the rest of our neighbors feel the same way. And so thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now we took care of that business. Now, so you are the doctor of love.
sounds like a bad.
How did that even start? How did the idea come down into your brain? I think I want to marry people. Where did that come from?
So that came from um, I'm 6'4". I have a very strong personality, a very strong presence.
Hmm.
But I've always, even when I was little, I've always believed in the concept, the thought, or even the phantom of love. I've always believed in that. Maybe it's my kryptonite. I don't know, but I've always believed. But so I've had the fortunate experience in my life. I've always had long-term relationships, very long, 5, 15, 17 years, 9.5 years, all those things. I've had those things. And I've also been married. So I know how it feels to have that person, to have that companion, to have that confidant, to have that intimate personal friendship with two people, regardless if it's male or female or male, or whatever the case may be, because love is
Now,
what it
have
is.
you, when you say you were you married to a man or were you married to a woman?
I was married to a man.
Okay.
So, so I know how that feels. So it was important for me, now that I've experienced that, and I know how that feels, and it's a wonderful feeling. It
Hmm.
would be very good and very lethargic for me or anyone else for me to help facilitate that, whether they're gay,
Hmm.
straight, it doesn't matter to me. Love is what it is. It's what it is. So my son said to me, Dad, you are really good at this. I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, no, Dad, you're good. So I thought about what he said. I had some very close friends, Shannon and some other friends, that goes, you're really good at this. I'm like, well, it's just something I do. He goes, no, you have a gift of just bringing it together. So, and that's how it started.
Wow. And so did you know that it would become a business or was it just going to be something you did for people? When did you get the foresight to say, you know what? I could monetize this. This could be a business. This could be lucrative.
That
Did you
came,
put that together immediately?
no, that was yours. That came together in 2016, and um, something was happening in my life. Yes, something was happening in my life, in my personal life, where I didn't need the finances, but my son needed some help. Is what was
Okay.
happening. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to help my son? Because regardless of who we are, our children, if they're 50 or 60, they're still our babies. So, and that's
Hmm.
how I came along. So I did the research. I found out what the state of Texas allows, what it doesn't allow, what an officiant does, what the responsibilities are. I found out all the background stuff, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. Had a very good friend of mine named Java Washington who helped me walk me through the process, to the website, the social media, and blah 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 blah, and bam, there I was,
Hmm.
and here I am now, and I'm just so shocked of how it has been very very well, very very well.
But you're not just an officiant because it would be very easy for you to just show up and, okay, where y'all want me to stand? Okay. And then you
Oh
say
no,
your piece. You don't do that. You provide more. It's a different type of service because I've seen the things that you do. So it's not just being an officiant. How did you know, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm not just going to be an officiant. I have to provide a feeling and a service.
well,
Walk me through that.
okay, so once again, that came from me having my own experience. So
Okay.
as you and I discussed privately before, I know what that feeling is. I know what it should feel like. I know what it should look like. But I also know what it shouldn't feel like and what it should
Mm.
not look like. So when I marry a couple, I don't care who they are. I don't care. I mean, hey, let me be clear. I could care less about your religious preference. I could care less about whether you're a man or a woman, or in love with a man or a woman, or traditional, whatever the case may be. I could care less if you're a trans or not. God bless you. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me, are you in love with the person that you're about to spend the rest of your life with? Are you in love with that person? And more so, are you in love with the commitment? Because I can love you and not be
Oh,
committed to
now
you.
that was deep right there. Hold on. Now, hold on. That was deep right there. Are you in love with the commitment? Baby, you said a mouthful right there. Go ahead. I had to just pause that one. I want to
Are
make sure the people get that. Pick that up, y'all. Write that down. Go ahead.
Are you in love with the commitment that you're about to make to another human being? So that's important to me. So whenever I talk to someone or have a conversation with someone, even over the phone or in person, I like to do it in person. I want to see and feel what I'm about to do is going to be real and lasting.
Hallie,
I've had
go sit down.
situations where I felt like immediately, okay, this is a great couple. They're doing great things. They're very focused. They're good. You can tell they're good friends. And you can tell that, yeah, they may not like each other right now because they're having an argument, but they love each other wholly. And
Yes.
but you can also tell when one of the individuals may be kind of hesitant. You can feel and see when one of the individuals may be coming along for the ride, so to speak. Well, okay, if you
Uh-huh.
want to do it, that's the wrong reason to do it, by the way. Or you can also feel where one of the individuals is in a situation where they're being coerced,
Mm.
allegedly, into doing something that they're not comfortable with. So I do more than just show up and go, okay, bam, here you go. Now, if you want me to
Right.
do that, I can do that. Is it my preference? No. I don't divorce people typically that I marry because I also can divorce you. I don't do that.
Oh.
Yes.
So
This
if
is
you married them and they came to you and wanted a divorce, what would you say?
I stopped. No.
You would stop them.
No, I know. I don't. I at first I used to do that. I did it for a couple of close friends, and I realized that's not the way to do it because I don't want to be part of the ending at the same time being part of the beginning.
Mm. Oh.
So that means that means to me I contributed to it.
Now, have you ever had to tell a couple, no, I'm not going to marry you?
Absolutely.
What did that look like?
That looked like I won't say the names for privacy purposes. That looked like I was talking to the couple. This was a traditional straight couple, if that's the word you want to use, traditional male and female couple. I was talking to him and her, and I noticed in the whole entire conversation, even on the phone, there was no excitement. There was no, oh my God, we're
Mm.
getting married. There was no, there was no heartbeat. There was no feeling. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's different when I see them because people are getting nervous. Cold feet. I get that. So I met
Right.
in a public place. I always try to meet people in a public place where there's lots of cameras. Panera Bread, Starbucks, whatever. Believe it, the best place is the mall food court. Lots of cameras. So I met them there, and I noticed the whole time I was talking, she never said a word.
Um,
And when she did say a word, it was a very short answer, like yes, no, uh-huh, yeah,
oh,
okay, whatever. I'm like, okay. So I'm watching her and I'm paying attention to him, and he's dominating the whole conversation. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that.
oh, wow.
So, and I'm just paying attention to her. She's very reserved, uh, more closed in than reserved. More not reserved as in poshed, but reserved as in closed in.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that doesn't feel right. So I waited. I thought about it. I prayed on it. 24 hours later, I called him and said, hey, you know what? Listen, I thought about our conversation and I must, reserve the right to refuse to marry you because I just feel like it may not be a good thing for me to do for you.
Mm.
What does that mean? I said, well, consciously, I just don't feel like marrying you. And I just left it alone. And in my paperwork, there's a disclosure that says I have that right. So I
Well, of
exercise.
course.
So ironically, a couple of weeks later, I get a phone call, and it's the same young lady. She's on the phone crying,
Oh, wow.
and she's thanking me for not marrying them because he was physically abusing her,
Oh, wow.
physically and sexually abusing her. They were dating, and he would not let her go.
Oh, my God.
So I guess for whatever reason, when I said no, that was her way to say, "Let me get the hell out of this." Or I don't know
Yeah.
that, but I guess it may go. It made her click. Like if this stranger can see that there is something going on,
Mm.
that there is something going on. It's not just
Exactly.
what I'm saying. So, and there's been instances where I've had same-sex couples, believe it or not, male and female, where I felt like, okay, great, you're just, you're the U-Haul couple.
Wait, what's a U-Haul couple?
Couple is I just met you, I'm in love with you, let's get together, let's get married, and we're gonna do all this within the 30-day period. No.
The U-Haul couple. Okay.
We'll get the U-Haul, put all this stuff together, blah 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 blah.
Eh.
No, no. And same thing. I've seen the quote unquote U-Haul couple with straight couples. with a particular descent of people, which I won't say. And I'm
No.
like, okay, why you? Oh, well, how long have you met? How long have you known her? Oh, about 30 days. And you're getting
Oh
married?
hell.
Oh,
Hell no.
and I've couples where you can tell that it was not the couple's idea, it was the parents' idea,
Oh, an arranged marriage.
and I refuse to do those.
Oh wow.
Me
So okay.
personally,
Okay,
because
what has been the strangest wedding you've ever done?
girl, okay, so the strangest wedding that I've ever done is that I married a couple in a tattoo shop
Oh, well,
because
that's definitely different.
that's where they met each other.
Oh,
So that was kind of cool. I've
oh,
also I married a couple in the dog park. That's where they met each other. I've married a couple on, which is kind of weird, scary, but there's two different ones on Halloween. I married them on
oh,
Halloween because they have like this ghouly gothic, thing that was weird. But
oh
also,
wow.
I married a couple this past year on Halloween, and it was absolutely beautiful. So the different perspectives is very good, but that is the weirdest, so to speak. The quickest is
Oh,
5 minutes. Is the quickest.
what was those 5 minutes?
The quickest we had already talked. It was arranged, and then 2020 happened and COVID.
Mm,
So it's pretty much, hey, we know who we are. I know who you are. Let me sign this marriage license so you can make sure you have your medical, blah 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 blah. And unfortunately, in this past environment, a lot of that happens a lot.
yeah.
I do it, happenstance, and I take it very seriously because I still need to know who you are.
Yes.
Because remember, my name is attached to that marriage license, so I need to know who you are.
Forever.
But forever, ever, forever.
Now I remember you married. It was. I think COVID was just in its like it was in the height of COVID. I get COVID. I guess. I remember you did a wedding out over in your courtyard, over at
Yes,
your apartments, and
exactly.
everybody was on their balconies watching. That was interesting. I remember that.
That was a couple, very nice couple. They're still together.
They were lesbians, right?
Yes, lesbian couple,
Okay.
very awesome couple, very a lesbian couple. And COVID hit, or it was either, I think Roxanne, it was either right at the beginning, or it's about to happen, or it was lingering, or it just landed on the coast. It was like on its way, like
Okay.
Columbus landing, and we're living Utah, and we know it's coming. Um,
Yeah.
and they said, "Hey, can you do that?" I'm like, "Sure, XYZ, blah 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 blah." And they got a phone call that same exact day and said, "Hey, we're in your neighborhood." I'm like, "Okay, well, great. Can you marry us right now?" I'm like, "What?"
I remember that's what you said.
I'm like, "What?" They said, "Right now." I'm like, "Right now?" I said, "Yeah." Well, I said, "Well, you can come and I can marry you in my courtyard." And well, their excuse was, and I won't give great detail because it's very private. It was a medical and legal issue that just happened, and they
Oh
needed to get
wow.
in place before other things happen.
Have you ever had to do any deathbed weddings?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh wow. Ooh.
Unfortunately, the most famous one that I've done that made world news was last January when I went to the Methodist Hospital and married a couple in the Methodist Chapel. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes. Well, that young man passed,
Oh.
unfortunately. So I married
What?
them, and he passed in May of last year. But I've been in people's hospitals before. I've been in
Mm,
private homes and in private dwellings where the person is, about to expire and pass away, and their wishes are to marry this person. And things like that, I never question. I never
of
question
course.
because that's matters of the heart. And when it comes to about to get verklempt. When it comes to listen to what your heart is telling you, and this is the last moments of your life. You I don't question that because that to me that's genuine.
Yeah.
And then there's one thing that you can always take from people but never get back, and that's their time. So if they have
Mm,
a very short period of time and they want to be happy, by all means, I'm going to help try to facilitate that. It's been very those moments are very. I don't talk about those very much because it gets to me. It makes me emotional, but
of
it's
course.
um it gives you a different perspective on what's important.
So, have you ever cried at any of your weddings?
Absolutely. And
Oh
and
wow!
those
Give us a story of one of the most emotional weddings that made you cry.
those all of those private ones where there's death intimate, I'm very emotional with those because it just touches you. But
Yeah.
the way I cried because I was so happy, because I was just so elated, was a couple that I married. It is kind of weird. Um, one's a trans
Mm.
and one is traditional, born they what they are, and they live their life in secret for quite some time. I mean,
Oh.
they knew who each other were intimately, socially, physically. They knew, but the family never knew.
Oh wow.
So somehow, some way, it sounds like a news story, but it's not. It's not that story. But somehow, some way, the information got out that the trans one, the information got out through whatever means that this person was not who they say they were. They were born a different sexual
Gender.
orientation.
Yeah. Okay.
Gender, excuse me. Yes. So they came to me in private. They they found me through another friend of mine. And we met in private. We didn't meet social. I went to their home and met them in private. We had a conversation. It was very emotional, very like, oh my, and you can feel the love when you walked in their house. Like, oh my God,
Yeah, I
I want to
believe
be
that when you
that.
there are couples like that, CJ. I really do believe that. Like when you're in the presence of certain couples, you can feel their love.
You can like, oh my
And just
God.
like you can feel their disdain and hate for each other, you can
Uh,
also feel when there's love there
so,
too.
right,
I
so when I
believe you.
right, so when I walked in, they had cooked dinner for me and everything. I'm like, whoa. But it wasn't trying to impress me. It's just who they were genuinely. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
so I married them. I married them in private, and they had very select individuals at their wedding. And luckily, God bless, one of the sets of parents was still living, and they were there.
Okay.
And the sets of parents struggled with this for years. Or why is
Mm.
my daughter or son with this person? Blah 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 blah. What I
Wow.
did not know is the night before that mother came to her senses.
Oh,
So on the day of the wedding, I look
she was.
up and the door is open and she's walking her child down the aisle. And I started crying.
Oh, that one I can see you crying with that. Yeah,
And I'm like, oh my God.
that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
So but it still goes back to the whole love concept. I mean,
Hmm.
I know it sounds, kindergartenish, but if you just believe in that love process or the love itself, and
Uh-huh.
you have to understand and love you have to love your commitment. Everything else will fall into place. Now, will it happen right then? No, of course not. It's not.
Look, you got me wanting to get married again now. Like before, I used to want to get married. I said, "Oh, I don't want to get married now." Now I'm like, "Well, maybe I do."
So, but once you, what once again, I've been married before, and we're not married now. But the love that I have for that person and that person's family shall never ever leave me, ever.
Oh, of course, yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. If you love someone, you will always love them.
I was, and I would just, it's just what it is. But I just strongly believe that, I think love has a way of healing people emotionally. You mentioned something earlier during the earlier segment about people's addiction. I think love has a big process to do with that. Me personally,
Hmm.
I think that
Definitely.
once you understand and know what it is, because love is just love, but that word means a whole lot to a whole lot of different people. It means a
This
whole
is
lot of
true.
different things. I love this. If you, most people that I've talked to that are in love can never really describe it because it's so
Mm,
much. It's so full. It's just so much.
that's true.
If you think about, ask someone that I mean, they're in love, but if you ever listen to their definition, it's like completely different from yours because it's so much of it.
Yeah, that's very fascinating. I never thought of, like, everybody has a different definition for what love when they try to put their words into meanings, their meanings into words of what love is.
Right?
Yeah, it's gonna be different for everybody.
It's different, and it should be, because
That is so true.
who wants a fashion plate love? Who wants the love that you took off Barbie and put it on Ken? No,
Okay, so we're at the end of the interview, and there's this one question that we discussed it.
sure.
Who would you marry, living or dead, and why?
Oh, I would marry, living or dead. Why? It would be my honor to officiate the wedding for Courtney Cox.
Who?
Is it Courtney Cox? Is that her name? The
From Friends?
no, black young lady. Oh my God, what's her name? I said her name. I can't think right now.
Courtney,
Trans.
I don't. Oh, I don't know. Courtney, I don't know. What does she look like? What does she do?
She's gorgeous. She was in Orange
Oh,
is the New
Laverne Cox.
Laverne Cox. I apologize.
Laverne Cox.
And here's the reason why. Not because she's trans, although I think that's fantastic. It has nothing to do with it. But
Okay.
because you look at her, what you think of that person is really not that person.
Mm,
When you look at her or people like her, it gives you a different perspective. Okay, well, love is not just for me, it's for everybody.
yes.
It's not just for quote unquote the straight people, it's for everybody that's breathing.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it.
Kelly.
You look at people like her who have transcended to their real person.
Hmm.
That's what love is, because it should transcend you from who you are on the shell, on the outside, to who you really are on the inside.
Yeah, it's just that's just your vessel. It's your inside that matters.
Vessel. Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. See that's why this was going to be the perfect interview for our Valentine's Day. Because we're going to be talking all about love.
So, and whenever you want me back on, we can talk about the legality part too. That's which is
Well, yeah, and I definitely want to do another segment about the legal side. But today, for this interview, I just wanted to talk about love and give everybody hope and let you hear some stories and maybe have them, if they're interested, if they're looking for someone to marry them, they can get in touch with you. What is your email address? It's connected to your commercial. In case y'all didn't know, Love the One You're With is the name of his company, and they are the proud streaming sponsors of Spectrum. And I thank you so very kindly for that,
you're very
for coming on board and believing in my vision. I really appreciate that.
it wasn't even a thought. I picked up that's easy. What you need, girl?
But I thank you and thank you from the bottom of my heart. So
The
so
website
yeah, what's the website?
is www.love the one you're with. So it's LOVETHE, the number one, the letter U, the letter RWITH.com. Love the one you're with.com.
Now the commercial is also on our YouTube separately from the show. And I also have put it on my Facebook page as well. Thank you, CJ, for this lovely oh my Lord, we've been talking for a long time. For this lovely interview. Once we get
But we do that in private too. We like talk.
I know. We start talking. It's like, what are we talking?
We were talking for like 2 hours the other day. Remember?
Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to tell people about getting married or about the business that you want to leave them with?
I'll say this. I love the one that you're with is exactly that. You love the one you're with. Be fierce with your love. Be committed to your love and love the commitment, because otherwise it's pointless.
I love that's going to be my takeaway from this interview. Be in love with the commitment of love. I love that. Well, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and give my love to Andrew. And I'm sure I'll see you guys sometime this weekend.
Yeah, I'm cooking.
Oh, yeah, you'll see me. Thank
Right,
you and good night.
Good night.
Oh, my goodness. All right, you guys. So that was CJ, Charles Jackson with Love the One You're With. Make sure you guys check it out on the Facebook page as well as on our YouTube channel. We have their commercial. Each week I wanted to do, for February, I was going to do a LGBT moment in history, person of the week. And the first one we did was Monica Roberts, a trans activist that passed away last year here in Houston, Texas. Excuse me, Calvin. And the one I'm going to do this week is disco icon, singing sensation. A lot of songs you think that somebody else sang, this baby sang them first. And he is truly, well, was truly an icon. Before there was a Billy Porter, before there was a Pose, before there was any of that, there was the artist known as Sylvester. So let's take a look and honor Sylvester in our Black History moment of the week.
You want all my love and my devotion. You want my loving soul right on the line. Well, I have no doubt I could love you forever. The only trouble is we really don't have the time.
All righty, that was Sylvester, baby. Oh, I got chills watching that. Every time I watched it, I got chills. Sylvester was before his time. I can only imagine if Sylvester hadn't been taken from us, where he would be today. Just imagine. He was such a force, such a powerhouse, such a talent. And a lot of you babies never got to experience who Sylvester was, but you should definitely look into his music because he was an icon before, as far as the Black gay community, Black LGBT. He was before RuPaul, before everybody. There was Sylvester. So you have to look into him. And we want to honor Sylvester as our Black History moment of the week. All righty, let's pay some more bills. How about some Sweets by Elise? Don't forget, that's our streaming sponsor, Love the One You're With, Wedding Officiant and Wedding Services. And we also want to thank Sweets by Elise. That was her Valentine commercial, but we wanted to run it anyway. We're going to ran it one more time. We'll be taking the Valentine part out, but you can still check out Sweets by Elise because they're one of our regular advertisers here with us. And we also want to thank Bella Miore, our luxury ladies apparel. They're going to be sponsoring our wardrobe here at Spectrum. So I'm very excited about that. And thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope you had a wonderful Sunday afternoon. I hope you had a wonderful Sunday evening. I hope you have a blessed week. Don't forget, the community bulletin board is going to be returning. So if you would like to if you have a job listing, or if you have a fundraising opportunity or a fundraising event, those are going to be the three things that we put on the bulletin board this season. Fundraising opportunity, fundraising event, or job opportunities, because lots of people are looking for work. We're trying to get Houston, and even if it's in another state, another city, wherever you're at, if you have a job that you feel like you want to get the word out, let people know that this place is hiring, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to put it on the community bulletin board. Like I said, that's going to be returning next week. So thank you guys. I don't think we did a video of the week this week, although there was this one video that I really, really liked, but I think I forgot to put it on here because I haven't had internet. This is me trying to do my very, very best. I just got my internet back yesterday, so I tried to put the show together very hurriedly, and I hope I did an okay job. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in today. Don't forget, I did run the show on Facebook this week, just because a lot of people have not had internet and they haven't had electricity. So I gave you one last chance to see it on Facebook. But starting next week, you can only catch it here on the YouTube channel. Okay, you guys? So please, I want to get lots of subscribers, lots of voices. Inbox me if you want to be a guest. Inbox me if you have some show or topics that you want us to discuss. Just stay tuned because we have a lot of wonderful things coming up on Spectrum this season. Next week, I'm very excited about our special guest because it's going to be a family affair. My brother, my oldest brother, I have three brothers. My oldest brother, Sam Hutchins, the one that's always calling me stinky and all the things on Facebook. He's always antagonizing me on Facebook. Well, you're finally going to get to see us interact live because he's going to be our very special guest next week. A lot of you don't know this, but I have a nephew. His name is Xavier. He was born autistic. And my brother loves his son so much that he created a charitable foundation in his name and in his honor. And it's called the Xavier Foundation. And so I'm going to be bringing my brother on to talk about that next week. So I can't wait. I'm nervous. I don't know what he's going to say. Lord, I have no idea how that's going to go. As soon as I booked them, like, what was I thinking? This is going to be fun. If you think I'm crazy, my brother's nuts. So, but I'm sure he'll be on his best behavior for the interview next week. So, if you want to meet my oldest brother, he will be here next Sunday night, right here on Spectrum. Thank you, guys. I had a wonderful evening. Be kind, be safe, take care of one another. I love you. I love you more than you would ever know. And this show means more to me than you would ever know. Even if it's just a small smattering of us watching and here so far, I have no doubt and I have every faith that it's going to grow into whatever it's supposed to be. Thank you. I love you. And I will see you all next week. Say goodbye, Callie. Say goodbye, Callie. Say goodbye, Callie. Wave at the people. Oh, now she's shy. Good night, everybody.
Who can turn the world on with her smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it, love is all around.